what else of that second stage? What else of that second stage? I'm lost for words, and that does not happen often. Memories of that second stage, bus riding in Stockholm, seeing statues of men pointing and querying why is it that our history is based on these men pointing at abstract spaces in maps that nobody can read and nobody can follow, although we are supposed to do so and suffer great penalties of ostracism or being considered to be eccentric if those patterns, again, received patterns, unquestioned patterns, are not followed. In fact, what is interesting is while the process of finalizing this stage of the process and this stage of staging the process, I started generating the next piece, which hopes to take further this idea of the relationship of the microscopic personal side of art to its macro social aspects. But I think that will belong to another film, another record, another process.
Maintain your secret. Don't let go. Maintain your secret and hold on to something. Grab your past or whatever. Okay, hold on to something and to just go with it.
Stockholm was questions of scale. Stockholm was a period of realizing that the world is not only organized from the perspective of Anglo-Saxon, I'm going to say male worlds, and I think one does not have to look at the state of global politics at the moment to query that statement so much. Or should I say that that statement should not come as a surprise given the state of the global world politics at the moment. So Stockholm was the development of a process. Stockholm was finding new collaborators and a wonderful man called Sanchez-Colberg and his version of our dialogue and his contribution to that dialogue. And the process, and I'm speaking about Stockholm because so much of it happened there, was, again, continue to explore ways in which the art happens and how the art is contextualized, which goes way beyond the way we sometimes see it as only happening within the industry models. There's nothing wrong with the industry models, but there's something beyond that cannot be contained within the industry models as we now know them. And I know that part of the process was wanting to engage with that. Part of the process was continue to microscopically deal with my changing performance skills, movement skills, as I now become an older dancer who does not want to become an ex-dancer. And again, seeing the piece that became the second part of the evening with the eye in the middle of the forehead, a piece that Efva has choreographed for two veteran dancers who have almost never been ex-dancers, have been a source of inspiration. In many ways, the final evening that was presented at the place last May was an evening that held between it a similar question. What is the role of movement and the kinesthetic and creativity within movement in a way which is generative and not just reproductive or representational of ourselves in the past? How can we, as we become older dancers, still see ourselves as having a future potential, a future creative potential, which is still generative? And that, in fact, is something that seems to be addressed nowadays with what we know about aging and bodies and what we forget and what we gain as new knowledge in these new decades of our living, of our lives. And I know that was and is and will continue to be a question that drives a significant part of the process and processes to come, without necessarily making pieces about being old. It's yet another dimension of what has always been my interest, this idea of movement as a way of creating and exercising our constitution of ourselves as historical beings. And that is in the process. It is so in the process.
Going into